Right, we're continuing our great series for Science of Wrestling, Secrets of Jiu Jitsu, and we learned so much from this book that's 85 years old. Here's a leg lock on the arm, something I've never seen before. While working on your opponent, securing a wrist lock with your right arm, bend left leg over and make the opponent's left arm and under the opponent's left arm. Now forcing it so that the upper part of your leg puts, let me build this up a little bit so you can see it. So the upper part of your leg puts pressure on his elbow. Next, bring your right leg over and let your opponent's left arm slip back and hold his arm pinned between his upper and lower arm. Okay, so what you've done here is that you have actually stepped over the opponent. You had a waist lock with your right arm, a wrist lock with your right arm. So you've got his right arm held. You're blocking him from rolling forward because your chest is on his back. Now you brought your left leg over your opponent's left arm, forcing it so that the upper part of your left leg puts pressure on his elbow. Now if his arm is in that position, folks, and it's straight out, and you look at his wrist there, so he can't bend it, you'll snap his elbow up pretty easily, wouldn't you? Now if you want to do a different finish, I mean that's a pretty deadly finish right there, folks. If you want to do a different finish, I mean that one pretty well will snap his elbow right in half, don't you think? Especially if you reach down and grab the hold of that left wrist with your left hand. Because you're collapsed on top of his arm. But what he's done from there is he's going to lift him. He is going to reach, and oh, this is even so much more deadly. He is now going to reach over with his right leg. No, he's not. He's going to just stretch him back. So he had him in his left. And he's just stretched him back. So now he's got that left arm pinned with his right leg now. And he's got his right shoulder. I would think that's going to pretty well dislocate both his shoulders. So let's look at it again here. He started here. He's got his left leg here. Now bring your right leg over and let the left arm slip back and hold his arm between your upper and lower right leg. So now you're going to bring your right leg over and trap that arm. Okay? So you're going to step over with the right leg. You follow? So he's going to step over his back with the right leg and squeeze it. Then he's going to reach down and get his left arm. Now, let me see if I put my hands behind my back, and if you have your arms there, I would think, try and put your hands behind your back in that position. I don't think you can do it. I think if you did it, you're going to break both of your shoulders, aren't you? So if he's pulled that arm up there after stepping over with the other arm, I really don't see a lot of options for this guy in the bottom, do you? I'm pretty certain that he's going to get his arms broken. Pretty certain that this is a pretty fancy hole. This is a pretty fancy hole. This one is going to break his elbow if I wanted. Now he's just switched the legs, so he's just held the elbow, just slid his left leg back to keep the arm controlled. Swung over his right leg, locked it with his right leg now, and now he's twisted the other arm up, and I'm pretty sure that's going to break his arm, folks. Now from here, he's going to take him all the way to the ground and pin him from there. This is the finish of Flayed Where the opponent's right arm is on the mat while retaining the right leg lock. So you've got his right leg, his right arm locked with a leg lock. You have him on the back right here. So I think that you could break his shoulder from there pretty easily. I bet you, depending on how hard that left leg is locked, I should be able to elbow him in the face a bunch of times too, huh? So I would think that he's going to be in a lot of trouble as far as being able to get out of this particular hold. I don't think he can roll forward because I have his left arm locked. so he can't roll all the way over. So he can't go over the top of me. He's in a pretty bad position here, ain't he? I think that he's pretty well going to be tied up here. I really like the first part of this move the best. He's doing for a pin here. I think this first one will break his arm. Oops. Let's go back this way, little boy. I think this first one will break his arm. Because especially if you have the left arm, the right leg underneath his chest and it's close. And if that arm is on that leg, I just think if you just squish down on it, snap his elbow. So I don't see much escape from him from that one, but he's flipping it over to a right arm leg lock, then a shoulder lock, then a pin. Man, this guy is beating this poor fella to death, ain't he? This looks like this one. The wrist hold, waist hold, and wrist grip. While working on your opponent, secure the wrist lock with the right arm and kneel on your right knee. Grab the left wrist and raise the left arm and pull it around your waist. So he's got him around the waist, and you're going to raise his left arm. So he's picking that up. This is not he's not in a lot of pain right here. He's not in a lot of trouble right here, but he's going to take that and put it around his waist. Then he's going to reach over after throwing the right leg forward and assuming a sitting position. At the same time, pull your opponent's left arm around your waist and raise the right arm uply and turn your adversary over. Now this, I think, could hurt him a lot. So when you grab that right arm and pulled it back while you have him in a waist lock, you grab that arm and pull it back. Now you're going to sit back on your butt and you're going to reach up and hook his right arm and put it around, hold that straight up and put him around it. Now he's going to go for a pin from there by rolling all the way backwards, and he's got him in a pin. So from here, this is a good wrestling pin. When you lift that arm up, he's lifted that arm up, he's got him around the waist, he's set back, he keeps that around his waist, see it around the waist, that's what's keeping him under control there. Then he hooks the other arm, so the guy's pretty well off balance. And that puts him up on his shoulder for an easy pin. Now from there, he could break his wrist and stuff, but I don't see that being a great, after having pulled your opponent clear with your left arm under his waist, force the right arm over and gain a fall. I think this is more of a pin. I don't see this being a particularly dangerous jiu-jitsu hold. I think it's a great pinning hold, so it'll help you win a judo or a jiu-jitsu match or a wrestling match, but I don't think it'd be a great, I don't see him being in a lot of pain right here. So let's go to the next one. I like the hurting ones. This one hurts. This one hurts. Let me read it and we'll come back and look. This hold can be secured from the front hold shown on 2. Bring your tight right arm under your opponent's left arm. Reach with your left arm into your opponent's right armpit. Your right foot blocking his foot. And you make him fall backwards. As soon as he falls, you're going to turn him over. So this is another one of those famous foot locks. So many people, no one ever does this that I'm aware of in the schools I've been to. I used to do it in karate fighting. He's stepping on the guy's foot. He's stepping on the guy's foot, which makes it hard for him to get away. Now he's locked that elbow up underneath his body. So he's going to use this as a throw. You couldn't get enough leverage right here to hurt that elbow unless if you dropped it back and yanked it up straight and were on his foot, you might be able to break his elbow, but he's going to use this as a leverage thing to throw him to the ground. So from here he's going to sweep him to the ground. Sweep him to the ground. Now you see he has him still held up. This is a continuation. After bringing your opponent to the mat, quickly turning him over, shift your left leg between both the opponent's hips, and now you're going to pin him. So from here he's in a great position to go into a mount, ain't he? He's in a great position to go into a mount, and he could easily come right up there and do it from the mount, go right into an arm bar and break his arm pretty easily, because there's nothing stopping. The only chance this guy has of stopping him is because he could hook his leg right there and get him in a half guard. But if he throws him back and hooks that up, he could fall backwards and swing his right leg over the top and get him in an arm bar from the side. So this is a good position, but it's a good position to do something else from. This is not a finishing position. This is a pinning position if you're doing a wrestling match, but it's not a finishing position in a fight. So this is a nice technique, and it's going to set you up for a good thing. You want to immediately, I'd put that knee on his stomach rather than between his legs. Put that knee on his stomach. So put your foot back here on the top of his leg, and the knee halfway on his stomach. Then you have a really great control technique there, folks. Really great control thing. So how do you break a bridge? Should your opponent bridge out of the position shown, throw your right leg over him. So now he's trying to bridge out. You're in a mountain. Somebody's trying to throw you off of a bridge, which is he's in the mount, and someone's trying to throw you, break your break. You know, I want to break him. I don't want him trying to throw me off. He's trying to break my mount. So he does it with a grapevine. After throwing your left leg over, grapevine both of your opponent's legs from the inside and quickly stiffen out. That will break his bridge, especially when you grapevine and pick his legs up. So a grapevine is a great bridge breaker, and it's to break their knees too. If you really, some people have so strong legs they can break your knees from there. It can really hurt. How do you get out of that bridge for you people that are just learning jiu-jitsu? How do you get out of a grapevine? Straighten your legs. Just force your legs straight. Don't lift it up. That gives him more power and gives him greater control in the grapevine. Then he can start attacking your head, or if he's in the street, he can just start punching in the mouth. So this is a good grapevine position, and he's weighing down there heavy, and he's going to stretch you out so you can't bridge up and you can't roll him off. If you bridge up, you can roll him off from here easy, but by stretching you out with that grapevine and squeezing, you're not going to be able to roll him off, and he's going to have a much better control position. Half Nelson, top scissors. While working from your opponent, secure a half Nelson in a scissor hold. So now this is a good back mount. And I don't know whether he has one leg or two in there. Let me go down to this picture. Yeah, he has two legs in there. So this is a great back mount. But now, so many of us when we do that, you're trying to get that rear choke, and he's going to keep his hands in front. It's a lot easier sometimes to secure the quarter Nelson or the half Nelson than it is to try and go for the rear naked choke. So when the guy's on your back here, you're in a lot of trouble because he's going to stretch you out there. He's going to stretch you out and lay you flat. So this is a good position of here, getting a nice back mount with your hooks in. Now back then they didn't call it getting your hooks in. He just called it a scissor. He's got his leg in. He's going to go to a scissor hold. So from there he's got his hooks in. And he's going to roll him over into a scissor hold. And now he's got him in that same half Nelson with a scissor. From this previous position, you can easily pull your opponent over on his shoulders, force his blades to the mat for a combination or holds. Be sure when securing the scissor that the top leg is locked in front of the under leg. The top leg should always be on top. Well, it should be in front, not on top. This will give you considerable more leverage and cause more pressure. So when you have your top leg on top. Now, this guy from here, he's pressing his neck there, which is going to get a pin. But from here, he's got that scissor hold. He can easily go up to a mount. He could take that arm out there, and he could flip up and grab the wrist and do an Americana and break his arm. So there's lots of great jiu-jitsu attacks from this type of position here, folks. There's lots of great jiu-jitsu attacks here from that position right here. He can lock that arm underneath his left arm and then just start punching him in the face. You know, he could grab his wrist right there and do an Americana. He could grab it and lock it up and do an arm bar. You know, he can press that head further and start doing a neck crank. He can reach underneath and do a neck crank. He could wrap around the head and push that arm up, and he's got what's called a Darce choke. And then he can let go of his legs and stuff. So in this position here, this is a pretty dominant position in jiu-jitsu. He's pretty nicely in control. The guy's only chance is to either roll back to his back, which he doesn't want to do. You don't ever want to be on your stomach in jiu-jitsu. In wrestling, you do. Not in jiu-jitsu. Or he can roll into him and be wound up in the mount. In the guard. So either way, the guy that's in the scissor hold is going to be in a lot of pain and a lot of potential trouble. And the guy with the hold can take his elbow, attack his wrist, attack his entire body. He can squeeze him. Some people will submit or give up just from you squeezing on their rib cage with your legs so tight. So this is obviously a very good position. So he showed you a very good position here, a great top mount position where he's got the hooks in. Then he's rolled him over by use of the quarter Nelson. Now from here you can set up just lots of great finishes. Good technique.